lessen the need for reserves. With all the customer rate pressure, we've agreed to go back and redo our budget, go down to a half cent, KWH, a cent per KWH for the ECA rate increase, which is about 3.9 million in revenue.
Part 2, OMU Commissioners Work Session, the 17th of May 2017.
And then we'll still have to use, we've got budgeted in the cash budget of $1.5 million that will start from November through May of using reserves to offset going above 15 million. So we need to have, if we don't do a half cent increase, the reserves instead of almost 5 million, it's going to be 9 million. So we really.
Now we can now in the come November though, we can relook at that.
Right.
Whether we want to.
We can look at it every month.
Whether we want to go another half or whether we really want to.
Right. And at the end of April, we're at 11.2 million due from customers to OMU.
So we cut that rate in half, the increase, but yet we did give that away by raising the limit, which still secure that money if it has to come back to us. Then we still evaluate it again.
Well, we eliminated having to use any money in fiscal 17. The 2 million we thought we were going to have to use, depending on May.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Next item we have is the Fiber to the Home Bonding Authority. You had asked us to go back and revisit the $19+ million one-time borrowing to do it in increments. And Chris, you want to give us a quick update on how that changed our business plan?
Okay, as Terry mentioned, we asked for 19.6 up front for bonding. The commission had recommended that we take a look at some incremental financing options, which we did. And just at a very high level, some of the positive art supports the proposed segmented construction phases. So there's no effect on how we propose to build this out. It minimizes our outstanding debt, and actually what it resulted in was positive cash flow a year earlier in the business plan itself because of that. So again, another positive effect on this. It also allows, as the commission pointed out, there's things that are changing, technology, market conditions. So it does allow us to minimize our debt, make some changes, evaluate as we go, and then revisit it at a later time. However, we need to know that it does affect the effective interest rates, as well as it ultimately adds 1.6 million to the total cost of the project. Next slide. So you can actually see here's a more important measurement of the all-in true interest cost. If you look at the debt issuances over there, and then here's the 1.6 ultimately that comes out, the difference between the two scenarios. So at this point, staff is recommending that we move ahead with seeking your permission to move ahead with the first phase of the incremental bonding at the $6 million level, knowing that in roughly 2 years we'll be back trying to look for another 7 million, and then 2 years after that looking for another 7 million if all goes well.
So the impact of this could be less if we just like get 6 million now, we get more comfortable with what we're doing, and get all the rest of it next year.
That's true. We could change it.
And of course, if interest rates don't go up, if they do stay flat,
that's true.
That 1.6 million is a whole lot less.
That is true.
There's not a lot of cost involved with issuing bonds on a different time than the actual cost of issuing.
Yeah, it costs about 200 and.
It's 1.5% of the bond issue. Yeah. Is the fee. I think it was about 350,000.
And that's what's built in that all-in true interest cost.
It's expensive.
Built in
this.
Okay.
Right here.
It's expensive to issue.
I thought it was an expense there that I didn't really. Yeah. Okay.
What provision in the clause that says we can't borrow from the bank to get the bond?
Yes, Pat, that's a good one.
It says there's no authorization to do it.
What does that mean?
That you're
no threshold amount for that, so.
No. They would, on our level, repose the bond.
They wouldn't what?
They wouldn't be interested.
They would be competitive.
They'd be interested, probably, but they wouldn't be competitive.
Yeah, I
Cause
mean,
it's a
it's
river pool.
unusual for us to, for a utility our size to go out with bond issuance that's only 6 million. You know, normally it'd be 10 million at minimum size, but
Riverport's different, and so the banks are always included in all their bids for borrowing, and the banks are real competitive on what they have done up to about 3 million, above that for lending.
yeah, but to be clear, we cannot borrow money from a bank. It must be issued by bonds.
Something bond council has to.
Well, you wouldn't have anything to pledge, really, as far as it,
Oh, you,
unless you pledge the plant down there.
it's already pledged to the bondholders.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, we have to have some collateral in order to lend that money.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Thank you. The next item is the fiscal year 18 annual budget, business plan and budget. You've had the presentation last month on the business plan and budget. There were some changes that were made to the budget based on your input. The payroll increase was reduced from 3 to 2.75%. The 2.5. That's wishful thinking. What were the other changes, Lynn?
We took up lieutenant's pay, we lowered the ECA.
Yeah, the ECA went down to 0.5%. We only borrowed 6 million, for the telecom system.
The whole system.
Yeah, we had an error in our off-peak wholesale gross margin calculation, that resulted in about a $1.8 million less revenue, gross margin.
And megawatt hours reduced.
Yeah, and, that trickled down through the budget as well, since you saw it 2 weeks ago. Those have all been adjusted. The market is up relative to when we did the estimate, so the net effect on cash flow is about $1 million, I think, right around $1 million, negative from where we were 2 weeks ago. But the market's up. Today, we're seeing very strong prices in the marketplace, and we've seen the markets moving up, which is good. So it's my hope that we can do like we're doing this year, beat our budget because of better market conditions. Anything else?
I had it, I remember it somewhere, I just found it, now I think that was most of it. Did y'all take my name?
Yeah, we poured water.
We poured water.
I poured water over.
It was hot, so we cooled it off.
Yeah. But that's everything I have.
Any questions on the budget?
Motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Thank you. Next item is the revised energy risk management plan. David, you wanna quickly, there's only one change, what is that change?
Yeah.
Okay, good morning.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. So the notable change to the fiscal year 2018 year-end policy as compared to the fiscal year 2017 year-end policy is the elimination of the ability to trade the following two things: natural gas locational basis positions and natural gas temporal spreads. I've given two examples of what those are. So the first one is the locational basis position, and that's if we were to have a position where we'd have a NYMEX settlement value versus a value of a specified location on the Texas gas or ANR system, or Henry Hub versus a specific location. The next example is a temporal spread, and that's an example here is if we're long July 2017 natural gas futures and short July 2018 natural gas futures. While such strategies might make sense in the future, should the OMU acquire gas-fired generation, the risk profile of its fiscal 18 coal-fired generation portfolio does not justify their use. So we just felt that it was best to eliminate the ability to trade those products. Other than that, the policy is very much the same as last year. Questions?
Make a motion to approve the revised energy risk management policy as recommended.
Discussion?
Okay, next item is our consent agenda item. Anybody see anything on there they got questions about?
Move for approval.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Under performance reports and, presentations, general manager report, so April was a good month. Temperatures were above normal, which is not good in April. You kinda want them below normal in April. Below normal in the winter months and above normal in the summer months. That means we sell more electric that way. But we had about 4 degrees above normal. Retail sales were 2% below budget, but wholesale sales were 631% above budget. And that was due to the fact that we had budgeted having 1 unit offline for the entire month. And we were able to, the prices in the market were strong enough that we were able to keep both units online. So wholesale unit operating revenues for the month were $4.8 million versus a $1.1 million budget. And unit 1 ran great. Had 2 consecutive months without an outage. The first time in 5 years we've had that performance. So great operations out there at the plant, especially given all the cycling that we're doing. Retail net income was above budget despite the fact that our sales were below budget, and that's because of cost control measures that we put in place on the expense side. So staff's done a great job with keeping costs under control. Of course, we completed the budget. We looked at the competitive offers on natural gas, generation. Transmission limitations created a problem for us. We had both units off for a weekend to do some work on the transmission on the substation and other electrical equipment. And we had what's called an energy emergency alert level 2, which meant we had to ask for conservation measures by customers because of limitations on transmission into the OMU system. That was what, how many hours?
It started hiring 1 in the morning and concluded hiring at 6 a.m.
Which is just bizarre to me that it would happen early in the morning, but apparently there were other units on outage and some transmission work being done in the grid that caused that. We were able to buy from a counterparty during that period of time and under emergency tariff provisions with LJK, able to bring power in, keep the lights on. So, but it is an issue. This is probably the second time
it has occurred since 2010.
Yeah.
So does that time of day soften the cost of buying power?
It sure does, but if you can get it here, you know, problem is you can't physically deliver it because of line limitations. Certain things have to be done by the grid operator in order to accommodate the delivery under the emergency alert conditions. If we ever go to an emergency alert 3 level, that's when we start curtailing. So we've never had to do that.
And fortunately, with going to the EEA level 2, we have what we call considered the capacity benefit margin, where they reserve capacity on the transmission availability, which will open it up for us on a temporary basis.
So I'm sure you all have listed those customers you didn't.
We have a emergency procedures manual that details exactly who we call and what the reduction could be and the order of where we make cuts in the system. It's all detailed. Just pull a book off the shelf and
We have
hand it to Tim and he does it.
rolling blackout plans.
Okay, we had our annual health fair. We had a really good turnout. The health fair was very well put on. It's a great benefit for employees, for them to come out and get their blood work done and see a bunch of vendors that provide really good products in the community, health-wise, so really good turnout there.
They help keep our health insurance costs down too, to have those kind of health fairs. Does that affect that at all?
Not really, but it does in your results. So those types of things, but yeah.
It's one of the ways that we get more people to participate in preventative medicine.
Yeah, my answer was more from an insurance perspective, but yes, for preventative and claims, it should.
Yeah. And I think we have, over the past 3 or 4 years, seen our claims go down as a result of the, wellness programs that we put in place.
Sure. How often do you have the health fair? Once a year? And how many years have you been having that?
Since I've been here, so the 29th.
Yeah.
The 29th year.
29th year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tells you how ahead of the ballgame they were.
It's just becoming more and more important for us to help employees understand how to improve their lifestyle and to get healthy.
Well, good turnout means that what percentage of you think employees are there?
There's 177 that signed in, including the factor's office.
Yeah, that's a pretty good turnout. Okay, and then we're continuing to work with the water district to determine the allocation of fixed costs. We should have something to turn to them, I would say either late this week or next week. The chairman is working on that with Rob. All right, any questions? Lynn?
Okay. On the financials for April 2017 fiscal year to date, part of our increase on our net income is due to that reversal of the reserves we were going to use for the offset of the ECA. That was $860,000 we had set up to forgive. We reversed that, so that was an $860,000 swing in April. Therefore, revenues exceeded budget and expenses are below budget. We were actually, the retail revenues for the month were up because of part of the $860,000. We were up 11.5% above budget. Wholesale revenues for the month were up 314% above budget, and the expenses were down 5% on retail and down. They were up 106% on wholesale. So, like Terry said, it was a great month. The retail system were up 50.6% above budget without the ACA adjustments included. On the wholesale system, we're up 21.1% better than budget. Fiscal year to date, telecommunications were up $158,000 better than budget. On the water system, we're up $369,000 better than budget. We've got 1 month to go. The bottom table of that statement. It looks like if everything goes well according to budget, next month, or the month of May, we'll end the year 45.2% above budget on consolidated financials on the electric system, and then on the retail system without the ECA adjustment, the performance for retail will be 14.5% above budget. Wholesale, we should end about 19% better than budget. Telecommunications, it'll be about $153,000 better than budget, and water should end about $370,000 better than budget.
Would be really good news if you didn't budget a loss.
Yeah.
For next year.
Yeah, it's all relative, right?
But this helps us going into next year.
Okay, governance items, we had 4 governance items. I reviewed those, and I think we had no non-compliance issues that I observed. Next upcoming meeting is our June meeting. It will also be a special meeting, as it will not be on our normal meeting day in anticipation.
Times just changed to the same day.
Oh, it's the same day, just the time?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so, just remember, whatever you want on your agenda, we need to have it published a day ahead of time, and we can't diverge from that agenda. I don't have anything else, Mr. Chairman. After we go into closed session. We do have some closed session items today. Closed session, like a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel matters pursuant to KRS 61.8.10.1 F, pending litigation pursuant to KRS 61.8.10.1 C, and matters which are required to be discussed in privacy pursuant to KRS 61.8.10.1 K, including but not limited to KRS 61.8.78.1 C, I, 61.8.72 sub 6, KRS 45.8.37.
Motion made. All in favor, say aye.
Good job.